In this video, I'm going to share with you a housing market update. I'm going to answer, will the property market crash in 2021? Why hasn't the property market crashed yet? So my name's Simon Zutshi. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network. I've been investing for over 25 years. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller. Now I'm going to be talking about some of the points I'm making here in this property market update. Now, look, the reality is this. Nobody knows what's going to happen to the property market. I was saying in 2020 that I felt by the end of 2020, the property market was going to crash. I wasn't the only one. The Bank of England said they expected a 16% drop in property prices, and most people felt after a boom, there's always a crash. And the fact that COVID-19 was hitting, no one really knew what was going to happen. However, the UK government stepped in and brought in some very clever measures to stop the property market crashing last year. And what they did was they introduced the furlough scheme. Instead of millions of people going onto the unemployment lines, they said that you can get 80% of your salary and sit at home, which was pretty good. Uncertainty, obviously, but that meant that obviously people weren't suddenly losing their jobs. And also they introduced the stamp duty holiday. Now I've talked about this in previous videos, so I don't want to go over it too much again. What's going to be interesting to watch is when the £500,000 stamp duty ends at the end of this month, end of June 2021, and then the £250,000 stamp duty holiday ends at the end of September. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now remember, the government initially gave us this stamp duty holiday on purchase up to $500,000 until the end of March 2021. And everyone was worried, what's going to happen? Is it going to be a suddenly dropping off the cliff because everyone's going to try and get there? Is it going to be tapered? And they introduced this very clever tapering system. So what's going to happen? And we're going to have to see, based on where you are in the country, you know, if you're in the southeast, most properties are probably worth $250,000 or more. And so by the end of June, that's it. This benefit's no longer going to help you. But if you're other parts of the country where lots of properties are less than 250,000, there will still be lots of transactions going through, certainly till the end of September. Solicitors are really busy. They're still taking a long time to get transactions to come through because there was such a boom in the market. However, this is probably not going to continue. And furlough is predicted to end, the government has said, in September 2020. Now, it really depends what happens this summer. Personally, I think we're going to see an economic boom in the summertime because all the people who've got money in their bank, they've not been spending during lockdown. You know, we've seen the staycation business has massively boomed. If you try and book somewhere to stay away from home in July, August, September, in the UK, it's very difficult. Most things are either booked up or the remaining accommodation is very expensive. So there's definitely going to be that boom. It's also going to be interesting to see how easy it's going to be to fly out of the UK for holidays. There's only a few countries on the green list at the moment. I think over the next few months, we're going to see that open up. And that might also have an effect. But what's this going to do for the housing market? Well, as I said, no one really knows. I believe, as I said last year, that when furlough ends, we're going to see a slow dip in prices. Now, London has already seen prices come down. You've got to be careful when we talk about average prices. On average, prices are going up, but each area is going to be different. So London starts to come down. Many areas are still booming and still growing. I want to give you a tip here because a lot of people say, well, I want to buy in a hotspot. I don't like recommending property hotspots for the simple reason what's a hotspot right now might not be in 6 months or 12 months' time. So I'm going to share with you how you can find hotspots. And here's the secret. Find areas where the population is growing faster than other places. So the average population growth needs to be faster. Why is that good for you? Well, if the population is growing, it means people are coming into the area, generally for work, and what that means is there's going to be an increased demand for accommodation. People wanted to buy property and also people wanted to rent property. So in areas where the population is growing faster than average, you generally have better capital growth. However, I'd like to refer you back to the 5 golden rules of property investing that I talk about in Property Magic. And a lot of people say to me, Simon, should I buy now? Should I wait until the market starts to dip? If it's going to crash, should I wait until it's crashed? Well, here's my honest opinion. And that is this. You know what? I believe if you find a great property deal in an area that works for you and you're following the golden rules. Now, I'm just going to talk about golden rule 2, 3, and 4. Golden rule number 2 is that we buy in an area of strong rental demand. What does that mean? We want to be able to make sure we can rent that property out. If the current tenants move, we can quickly and easily find more tenants to come into the property. That's the first thing. The third rule, but the second point I want to make is we only buy property that gives us great cash flow. So we take the rent, less the mortgage, the insurance, the maintenance, any other bills we have to pay, the management fees, and there must be profit left over at the end of every month. We only buy property that gives us profit today. Rule number 4, the third point I want to make, is we buy for the long term. You see, if you think about it, in the UK, we have a growing population. Now, we've lost some people because of Brexit. We are losing some people because of COVID, obviously. But over the long term, the population is still growing. What that means is that there's not enough accommodation. Now, the government put out statistics. They say that there are 300,000 homes required every single year. We're only building about 200,000, so there is a shortage. Now, in some areas there's an oversupply, some areas so again, this is very much an average we're talking about here. But here's the point. If you believe that long-term property prices will continue to go up, they'll come up, they'll come down, they'll go up. Property prices are cyclical. But if you believe that long-term prices go up, stop waiting to buy property. Stop waiting for the right time, because I don't know when the right time is going to be. No one really knows. If a property works today, it is then the right time. If you can rent it out, golden rule number 2. If it makes you cash flow, golden rule number 3. And if you're holding long term, it doesn't matter if you buy something now and in 6 or 12 months it's slightly less value. It only matters if you want to sell that property. But if you're holding long term, and you're holding it long term because you know you can rent it out, you know you're going to make great cash flow, then it really doesn't matter when you buy. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you do your due diligence. When you're investing in property, it's a big financial commitment. You must do your due diligence as much as you can. Doesn't mean you have to take a long time, because if you find a really good deal and you spend too long thinking about it, someone else will come in and snap up that deal from right under your nose. So it's about knowing how to find good deals, what makes a good deal for you, because what makes a deal for you might not be what makes a good deal for me. So you've got to be really clear on your criteria, and then when you find a good deal, you need to act quickly. It helps if you have your power team, the people who can help you, your mortgage broker, your solicitor, all of whom ideally invest in property themselves. They understand exactly what you're trying to do. Getting the right power team is really going to help you grow your portfolio. So no matter what's happening in the market, whether the market's booming, stagnating, or crashing, I believe there's always opportunity. And when there's a booming market, I hear people say, oh, I'm not investing now because everyone's going for high prices. And yes, things are going for high prices. But when a sale falls through, and 1 in 3 sales in the UK fall through, that seller's going to be really motivated. And if you are following up with that seller and you're in the right time at the right place, then you might get a very good deal, because a seller might be more motivated and might be prepared to sell less than the market value. So I've got lots of training videos on this channel all about finding motivated sellers, getting your power team sorted. I really encourage you to watch some of those videos to make sure you are ready. When great opportunities come up, you need to move fast. If you think about it too long, you're going to miss out. I believe successful people, decisive people, they take action. Whereas sometimes such not successful people, they tend to think about things too long, they overanalyze, and they end up not taking action. So a great saying from one of my mentors, Robert Allen, is why wait to buy when you should buy and wait? Do your research, find a really good deal, make sure you can rent it out, make sure you get great cash flow, hold long term. It doesn't matter what happens to short-term prices. So I'm going to continue to do these monthly updates. As new announcements come out from the government, I'll share those. But to be honest, these are going to be the same for a while, because the market on average still seems to be going up. But at some point, it's going to turn. After every booming market, there is always a bust. I know people who have been waiting a year to get into the market to wait for the bust. Well, don't do that. If you find a good property, take action and get out there. And I know I've repeated some of these messages, but I want to make it really clear. get the knowledge. If you want training, hey, come and speak to us. We can help you with that. But there's lots of free information we provide for you. You just have to make a decision and you have to take action. So with that, I just encourage you to come and check out some of the videos on this channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click on the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notified every time we bring out a new video. And if you like this video, please tick like so other people get to see it. And also just give us some comments. And what do you want to know about? What are some of the questions you've got? I'll answer as many as I can in the comments, but this will help me come up with the content to answer your questions. That's what I'm here for, to give you knowledge, to inspire you, to build your belief. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. There's lots of free information for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon. I do hope you've enjoyed that video. I've lined up another video to watch next. I think it's going to be very relevant for you. And also, if you click on the link below, you can actually get a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Property Magic. We'll ask you just to pay for the postage. We'll send it anywhere in the world. So click on the link right now to get your copy of Property Magic.